I've been given the orders, ladies and gentlemen, 2 short, sharp words. Let's go. So we'll go. But a big welcome to you all, and I won't do it officially, but the important people will do that a little bit later on. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dudley Corbett, and I've been honoured this morning to be invited to stand next to the microphone, and I'm usually shy, quiet and retiring when it comes to this game, but I've had a couple of good mentors over the years, so I hope everything goes okay. Now, we have international horse judge passionate about the Arabian breed, a man who is much travelled for many, many years. We're very lucky to have with us today a man of his standing, his iconic stature in the game, and my pleasure to say welcome to Mr. Graham Smith. I was having a word to Yvonne before we started, and I said, "What's your favourite TV show?" And she said, "Neighbours." Now look, they do get better. I'm sorry. They do get better, I promise. Yes. And Sonia, of course, said the hardest thing about learning to ride is the ground. But I'm also told that no hour of life is ever wasted that is spent in the saddle. And I think that's and a horse gallops with its lungs, it perseveres with its heart, and it wins with its character. What a fine, noble animal they are, there's no doubt about that. And when you are on a great horse, you have the best seat in the land. There's nothing like it, is there? Nothing like it. Beautiful. Well, let me say hello also to the young lady over here doing the secretarial work, and she'll be selling the books a little bit later on, and Yvonne will be signing the books. So Sonia has been in many different ways to the community, and especially today. What about a round of applause for Sonia? Now we have our Central Coast Mayor with us today, Jan. The lovely Jan Bond, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard, Jan. Did you tie your horse up outside or did you get a taxi? Well, I thought being the mayor you might have ridden a horse. Now, Elizabeth Nichols right on the corner here. She's an author in her own right and historian, and she has written a bit of a prelude about the book today and given it a thumbs up and given it 100%. And Elizabeth's second in command is over here behind the video camera with me, and that's Winston. So what about a collective round of applause for both of those and a big welcome. The book signing will go through until about 11:30 because I think they need to shut the shop at about 11:30. But housekeeping, if you don't mind, we do have a rubbish tin up here under the table. There's plenty of coffee, tea, Milo, plenty of hot water, plenty of goodies on the table. The ladies have been very, very busy, sweating over a stove and all that. Well, horses. Have you been to the dancing horses anywhere? In WA they did have Il Cabello, Blanca or something like that, I think it was called, with the dancing horses. Now I don't know how they dance because they've got 2 left feet.
They've got 2 right ones too.
Yes, if they use them all together they're very, very happy. Yeah. And I showed our visiting guest judge a picture of a mighty Arab stallion that used to be the king of the Arabs on the coast here some years ago. And he has ridden, he was a touring rodeo rider, that particular fellow. Tex Mooney, his name was, I don't know whether any of you would have remembered such a name. But he toured around here with the Wild West shows, with the whip cracking and all that sort of thing. And he said that one of his particular horses used to actually glow in the dark. He was what is known as rodeo active. Oh, Graham, I'm so sorry. But you're welcome to use some of these back in Canberra if they're ever stuck. Brother. Now look, I think perhaps we might get on with the show, and please don't forget to avail yourselves of the tea and coffee and that lovely spread that's over there. Once again, I welcome you all, but it will be officially done very shortly, and Yvonne is coming up a little bit later on. And she's the #1 Supremo here today, and what a wonderful job she's done organising everything, and what a wonderful job she's done writing that book. And we're expecting that you will enjoy the book just as much as I did. Factual, facts and figures, and you're inside the mind of a horse, and that's how they think. I never sort of really realised that, but thank you, Yvonne, for opening the channels there. But perhaps now Mr. Graham Smith might like to come forward and to regale us with a story or two and a bit of history and whatever else you might feel that would be beneficial to this particular gathering. Give him a big round of applause, Mr. Graham Smith.
That's okay. Thanks, Dudley, and welcome everyone. Dudley's certainly a hard act to follow, but I won't be using any of his jokes back in Canberra. But look, I wanted to thank everyone for coming here today, obviously, and Dudley's certainly gone arounds and welcomed everyone, but in particular Mayor Jan Bond and our other guest speakers today. It's great being here with you. Look, firstly, I just wanted to acknowledge and pay respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginals peoples as the traditional and original owners and the continuing custodians of the land on which we gather today, and acknowledge elders past and present. We are Australians, we're all Australians together, and it's important to acknowledge the original custodians of this land. Look, I'm very honoured to be here today. Yvonne has been a lifelong friend of mine, basically, and I'm just proud to be here to be part of this gathering. It takes courage and convictions to write a book, but Yvonne, in this case, has mixed that with her own compassion and empathy. This is Yvonne's second book. Her first book, you may be aware, was The Brownsville Blacksmith, which was the story of William Beach, Australia's champion horseman of the world, and that was a truly inspiring story. If you get a chance, have a read of that. It's about one of Yvonne's family members. But the book, The Story of Cecil, I suspect, is written more from the heart and drawing on her lifetime love of horses. And I think, as Dudley touched on, you read this book and even for me, you take a step back and you think about what's happening from the horse's perspective. So thank you, Yvonne, for opening up our minds to that side of storytelling. But look, first I just want to talk a little about the author, Yvonne. As most of you would know or have gleaned, Yvonne is an absolute horse nut. Throughout Yvonne's life, she's immersed herself in whatever she does with conviction, and that's one of the characteristics that I love about Yvonne. You see her here in Tasmania. I've seen her in New South Wales, internationally, and she's the same wherever she goes. She gets the trust and support of people around her, and it's that love and compassion that comes through. During her time on the board, Yvonne also was appointed as our secretary of our Judges Committee. So she has responsibility for helping to train and promote judges all around Australia. So the Arab Horse Society has about 150 judges at the moment. We're trying to bring more through more younger judges as well, and that's part of Yvonne's role, is to help guide the Arab Horse Society to make sure that we've got that next generation coming through. Yvonne herself is a national panel judge, which is one of the highest accolades you can have in Australia for being an Arabian horse judge. And basically that means that she's done her time, she knows her stuff, and she's well respected. And there's three sort of attributes that in the horse world, are highly regarded. Equestrian Australia is our peak Olympic organisation. It oversights Olympic disciplines, and Yvonne is also a judge with two components of that in regards to dressage and show jumping. So she's active outside the Arabian horse realms as well. And at a local level, she always takes time to help with pony club judging and adult riding club judging. While in Tasmania, I'm just trying to think, Yvonne, how long have you been here in Tassie now?
Nearly 15 years.
15 years. Well, during the time here, she's taken up the role of both secretary and president of two Arabian horse clubs in the local areas here, and also has been secretary of Burney's show. So while she might be a fly-in and she's only been here 15 years, I think you can see how community-minded she is and how passionate she is to promote the horse and, as I said, help out wherever she possibly can. And apart from those formal qualifications, Yvonne's just inspirational. Last week, Yvonne competed in a 160-kilometre or 100-mile endurance ride, and she completed that successfully. And she has nothing but respect in the horse community. And I'm not going to ask your age, Yvonne, but a woman of your ilk, you've done extremely well. We're all very proud of you, and you are a role model in that regard. Now look, at a personal level, I'm here today because, as I said, I've had over 38 years of knowing and being a friend of Yvonne's and Ray's, and long-suffering Ray. He puts up with a lot. But I was a much younger version of myself when I met Yvonne, and I was very keen in those days to become a judge. And Yvonne supported and guided me and mentored me through that period of time. And she continues to do that today. I'm lucky that I get to travel the world and judge in lots of different countries, but there'll be things that I come up against, either internationally or domestically, and I'll always phone up Yvonne and some one or two other really close friends that, they always give me a reality check or guide me or talk to me about the horses that I may see or the issue that I'm dealing with. So I'm forever thankful for that. Now, about the book itself, when reading about the life and times of Cecil, the Arabian Warmblood, you will be charmed by his real-life journey. From being a foal at Guns Plains all the way through to being a successful dressage and show jumping and competition horse. You, the reader, will step inside the mind of Cecil and feel and experience the roller coaster of life events from Cecil's perspective. From that sheer joy of being that foal, through to weaning, and then the introduction of saddle and riding. We are literally with him every step of the way through his career and as a competition horse, and we watch him literally take off. The charm and beauty of this story is that it envelops you in the very real emotions and life journey of Cecil. I've read hundreds of books about horses, but this is one that, as I said, takes you to the real inner soul of the horse and what the horse is thinking and feeling. And it's a really good reminder for all of us as horse people. We all say we love horses, but sometimes you need a reality check, and in a nice way this book brings you back to earth about real emotions of animals, whether it's horses, dogs, cats or whatever. Look, you'll be touched by his fears and trepidations, which are real, but also his joy for life, and perhaps most importantly, his desire to love and to be loved. I trust that you will find A Horse Named Cecil is a true life story that will charm and captivate you, the reader. Now look, I'd like to officially launch the book, A Horse Named Cecil, and if you could please put your hands together for Yvonne, warmly congratulate her and ask her to come up.
You going to read it to us?
Not the whole book.
Oh,
Cool. Heavens above. I'm pretty sure Graham was talking about several other people. Thank you, Graham. I also wanted to thank Nick and everyone here at the Nutrient Shop for allowing me to have the book launch here today. A couple of people have said to me, I've never been to a book launch in a feed store, and I'm sure nobody has. But when we first moved to Tassie, the people here, it was Roberts then, looked after us, steered us, helped us, guided us all through building our house, setting up our property, buying our horse food and everything else that we needed. And so I just felt it was appropriate that this was where we had our book launch. So thank you to Nick. Okay, now I wanted to welcome Jan Bond, our Mayor, Elizabeth, and Felix Ellis is over there now, our, one of our local MPs, and I'm sure that some of them would like to say a few words as well. I'll just read you a very short piece out of the book. Mum warmed me up and then Ellie slipped on board. She was a lot like Kenya in the way she rode, and I felt safe and comfortable straight away. She and Mary said nice things about my movement and style and made me feel good. After we'd done what I thought was enough, Mum told Ellie to try some leg yielding, as she had with Kenya. We did all my little party tricks and Ellie and Mary were quite impressed. Mum was proud of me. The next Tuesday morning, Mum was pretty stressed. The weather was wet and cold and the wind was strong, howling through the trees at times. She was almost in tears every time she came near me, and I didn't know what was wrong with her. Eventually the phone rang and I could sense the relief in her voice as she spoke to Rodney and thanked him profusely. From what I could gather, Rodney was to have picked me up in his truck and take me somewhere called Melbourne. But because the weather was so bad, Rodney had asked if it could be put off till Thursday. Mum come and hugged my neck and wiped a few tears from her eyes. She'd been so worried about me having to go away in such bad conditions. On the Thursday afternoon, Rodney arrived with his truck. Mum had worked me earlier in the day and we did all the little movements we'd been perfecting over the previous weeks. She and Dad washed me a few days before, and so she gave me a good sponge down, brushed me till I shone and rubbed me up again and fed me tidbits. As the truck came down the hill, she led me up to the road gate to meet it because it was too wet and slippery around the yards and shed. There were a few other horses on the truck and I was to be the last one on board. There was a little pinto yearling next to me and another pinto next to her, which I presumed was her mother. I got a little bit nervous because I didn't know any of these horses and they didn't seem friendly at all. Mum said goodbye to me and said she would see me at lunchtime on Monday. I started to get more concerned because that was days away. Where on earth was I going? I wasn't sure about all this. I was nervous and started to paw with my front foot. The mother horse glowered at me and told me to stop it. She called me a big baby and to just grow up. I was taken aback because no one, except Jack's horse, had ever spoken to me like that before. I stopped pawing and Rodney started the truck and set off slowly down our steep hill. I tried to look back at my home. Buddy was running around like a lost sheep, whinnying for me. The other horses who were close by were all standing looking after the truck. Mum and Dad were still standing near the gate, and Dad had his arm around Mum as if he was comforting her. We worked our way around the beautiful valley where I'd grown up and spent my whole life in, and weaved our way up the hill on the other side of it and out of Gunns Plains, leaving everything that I knew and loved forever. So that's just a little part of the book. There's lots of good bits in it, lots of happy bits, and a little bit of sad stuff. but on the whole, it's a life story. Okay, that's it.
I'd like to make welcome Mr. Felix Ellis now. I'm not sure whether he intended to say anything or not, but look, he is a politician and he can't help himself, obviously. So, yeah. But we were saying, or you were saying, you didn't know how old Yvonne was. I can help you out.
Don't you dare.
28. She's 28.
Okay.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting her birthday because she never looks any older. Ladies and gentlemen, I make welcome Felix and the crew that came in a little while ago. Thank you, and thanks for joining us. And Felix, it's all yours. Thank you, sir.
Well, look, I actually had no idea I was speaking today, so hopefully I don't mess a few things up. Yvonne, congratulations. I'm really looking forward to buying plenty of copies of your book and having a read as well. It's wonderful. It's the first book launch that I've ever been in a feed store as well, so it's a brilliant idea and a wonderful place. And I could hear the emotion in your voice, as I'm sure everyone here could before, when you're talking about Cecil leaving Guns Plains. I was actually up there yesterday with John and Megan Bohr, who have the Longhorns farm up there, and had a similar experience with the love that they have of their stock, in this case, and the love that you have for the horses. For Cecil, you've obviously put a lot of time and thought into telling his story, and so just congratulations. I encourage everyone here to make sure that you buy plenty of copies for loved ones over the Christmas time. It's really, really well.
Thank you, Felix, for being put on the spot and responding in kind. That was very, very good. We have a lady with us who is no stranger to a microphone, no stranger to public speaking, no stranger to public administration, and I talk of my good friend, Jan Bond. Now, I don't know whether you intended to say anything or not, but I'm telling you, yes you are. Thank you, Jan. Thank you.
It's no better than Dudley Court, is there, when it comes to public speaking? Look, I can't think of any nicer place to be this morning with the rain outside just gently falling in those paddocks where the horses and our cattle are. In the feed shed where, of course, all of the horsey people come to get all of their feed, and we're nice and warm and dry. And I guess I'm really looking forward to reading about Cecil, because I can't claim to have ridden horses professionally or in any competition. However, I have enjoyed horse riding for many years for pleasure, and at times I can tell you I would have liked to have known what was going on in their heads and what they were actually thinking at the time and why they did what they did. So it would be very handy for me to have read Cecil before then, I think. Graham, I want to thank you for coming down and doing this for Yvonne. It's a real pleasure to have listened to you this morning. But you gave us an insight into Yvonne that perhaps many of us don't really know, that professional side of and the work that she does internationally and nationally. We've known Yvonne, well, I think I've known Yvonne for almost 15 years, for a long, long time, since she's been here in Guns Plains. And I've known her as somebody who has been involved with horses, but who's also been involved and a real driver in our community. In the Guns Plains community, it's Yvonne that's out there, in the forefront of the Guns Plains Potato Festival, which she has run and driven for many, many years. She's volunteering all over the place, and that's the Yvonne that we know and love. And it's lovely to hear the other side of that too. But Yvonne, congratulations. We're extremely proud of you, and I hope everybody buys lots of copies and really enjoys your book. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Jan. It may not have been on your bucket list to have a talk this morning, but you did well and without a care in the world, as per usual. I don't think we have any other... Do we have any other speakers? Elizabeth, of course. A lady who is very well known in the Central Coast area, probably more Penguin than anywhere else, but a lady who's made her mark in several different aspects of life in the community, and today she's going to impart some of that wonderful knowledge to us. Thank you, Elizabeth, and smile for the camera, because there's a fella over there probably needs your name and address or something.
Sure, I think I'm here as a complete ring-in. My one and only effort at riding a horse was when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and went trail riding with my sister. She was on an ex-racehorse and I was on a gentle pony. But when on the way home, we got, I suppose, half a mile from the place where we were taking the horses back, and the ex-racehorse decided he was near home, so he was going to bolt for it. And my horse decided that was a very good idea and took off after it. So that was the last time I was ever on a horse. But Cecil, I think, restored my faith in horses. He took on, through the book, I think, the nature almost of a human being, and the fears and the challenges that he faced really reminded me of my own trip through life. I couldn't help reflecting it took me 60 years to get confidence in my own abilities. And I think that's just a wonderful aspect of the book. And the compassion, the care and the love that Yvonne and May gave the horse, and how he overcame his fears and became one of the best. And it's a wonderful story, and I would recommend it to everybody. And thanks, Yvonne, for your work.
Once again, congratulations to Yvonne and all concerned for the big day today, and a lot of people have put a lot of work into this, and it would not have been possible without your attendance here today and your input. I am so honoured to play my little part in helping the cause. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.